Right to this computer. Hello, my name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this is another session of Hearts of Wulin, Numberless Secrets. Our characters have been involved in a grand dinner. There were a variety of suspicious things leading up to that, but they arrived at that dinner. There was some back and forth. We have some characters who are returning sort of possibly nefarious characters, actually villainous characters, and people we don't know about throughout. But during the meal, the person who was the Empress Dowager's front person, the person who kind of came before, who had spoken with our detective Bao Shi about the possibility of assassins, there was an attempted assassination against him, an attempted poisoning. And they were saved by the quick intervention of Zhenai and Bao Shi. Unfortunately, Bao Shi realized that the poison is likely to be similar to the poison that his good friend used. And I don't think Shaolin has yet mentioned. Oh, no. In fact, actually, the person who could mention this, who did see our poisoner go into the thing, into the palace earlier, that would be Ray's character, is not here to provide that particular piece of context. But there was some talking around, some investigation about what was going on. The Empress Dowager asked Bao Shi and his company to take charge of the investigation. The area was kind of locked down, and it was shortly after that that Sister Lu Shan found Zhenai and Shaolin and took them to the scroll chambers where various temple records and things are stored. And they went in there and they found the body of the historian that had been spoken to briefly earlier, Winter Iris, and she was dead. And that is where we left off last time. That is the frame of our thing. I am going to mention on our mystery map, I've set it at complexity 8, but I may tick that down depending on our time because we have the 3 sessions left. So I may tick that down depending. But there are possibly 4 facets. I'm leaving 1 facet undefined for the moment because people may find something else to track, or there's also some moves that can add a facet if people want to lean into some things. But right now, our murder, death in the temple, they have the first facet is the murder of Winter Iris. The second facet is the attempted poisoning of Black Pearl. And the third facet is the Empress Dowager's visitation, the question behind that. What's going on with that whole thing? And I've left the 4th one, as I say, blank. Let's check in with everybody real quick. Zhenai, you have nothing marked. Looks like you're on your way to another advance. You have no bonds.
I know, I used them all.
Right, we're going to talk about that in a second. Are you still good with your entanglements?
Here I am looking. Yeah.
Okay.
I think, well, yeah, yes. In theory, the half of each of them are more ideas in this thing. So we will see. I will work at it. Certainly, I think about those things. So I will bring that in and make it a problem.
Okay. Shaolin, you only have wood marked. Did you get an advance last time?
Yes, and I raised Earth.
Okay. And you also have no bonds right at this moment?
Nope.
Okay. And then Bao Shi, you are clean as a whistle, halfway along on next advance, filled to the brim with delicious bonds. Why don't you do me a favor before we go too much further and have you roll those 2d6 for me?
Alrighty, let's roll them. Put my name in. There we go. 9.
And that's not bad.
Not
Nice.
bad at all.
Okay. So you've got that in your pocket. And are you good with your entanglements?
I am.
Okay. And then Song Da, you are just the crest. All we need is a failure or two from you this session, and we can get you another in advance.
Yeah, that's all we need.
You have one element marked, and you've got a pretty decent supply of bonds there.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm not used to that.
Yeah.
I shall have to use them all up and feel deprived again.
And we've got the romantic and the general. Are you good with those? Did you think about a temp sub for the romantic?
Nothing's popped out
Okay.
as of yet.
That's
but
fine.
I am good with the general one now. It may shift once again before the end of the campaign, depending on how things go. But I'm trying to keep it modeling where we are.
So what I want to do is, because I kind of cut off with Janai and Shaolin there in that scene, I want to give them a chance to work that scene. And then the other thing that was listed on the wishes is we probably will cut from that to bringing the four of you together to talk and maybe have a chance like to organize, do some comfort and support, some bond building, that kind of thing, have a chance to do that. That was something that Tyler mentioned last time, especially for Janai and Shaolin, who are bond deficient at the moment, as they may say. So again, Lushant waits outside this chamber. You can see those classic sort of triangular shelves, and then flat shelves, and there are scrolls everywhere around in here. You can tell that these have been brought in from different temples. Some of them are clearly organized. Others have been put in boxes to be organized and things like that. She was at a low table. There are some scrolls, like a sets of them on the table, and she has collapsed off to the side of that, and she's clearly been dead for a little while. So Janai, I will start with you.
I think I can't help myself. The first thing I do is I look at the scrolls that she has around her, A, to see what she was delving into, but B, to see if there's something out of place or something clearly missing. So
let me have you make a study roll for me, if you would.
I think as always, I will use Earth on this. And of course, I thought dang it, how do I always do this? I open the link and then I close it. Just a goofball. I'm sorry.
I did that earlier. I opened the roller before we started the game, and then we got into the game, and I was like, "Oh, I need to clear away this tab."
Exactly. I can get rid of all
I'll
these
never need to
extraneous
roll.
things. Okay, so I'm rolling 2d6. I'm adding 3 to it. So that's a 9.
So that is a 9. So that is one hold, or a 2 hold.
One declaration.
One hold, or 2 hold if you wish to pay a cost. That
2 hold if I wish to pay a cost. Okay. Yeah, I will do the cost. Can we call for clues then?
Yeah, and with 2 hold, you can gain a clue if you wish.
Okay, sure. I will do the clue with a cost then.
And let's see what a cost would be appropriate here. Shaolin, I think that as you are watching Janai, as Janai switches mode, you are absolutely struck because you knew your friend Blue Mountain Scholar,
Mhm.
and you've seen Blue Mountain Scholar on the previous case that you
Yeah.
just briefly. You are absolutely struck by how much Janai absolutely seems to copy Blue Mountain Scholars. Like, it's uncanny how much her mode of this just it's bizarre. Like, she's a perfect mimic. So Janai, you have two hold.
Thank you, Lowell. I will ask for a clue.
You will look at this, and these two clues are kind of together. I'm going to say it's
Mhm.
one clue. Is that there? The set of scrolls that she has out here seem a bizarre bizarre set of them. You're like, your mind immediately is, okay, is she looking at a cross section of different histories or something like that? But it seems just a bizarre amalgam of these scrolls. You're not sure why anyone who was looking through would choose from these different subjects and these different periods and stuff. That doesn't seem to be a pattern. But the thing that strikes you is the one that is open in front of her is mislabeled. Like, it says it's a history of temple records for the Temple of the North. But when you open it up, it seems to be more of a botanical guide to plants in the South, very commonplace. It's You're not sure why that mistake would be made, but you're pretty sure that that label was swapped.
Interesting. Like, okay.
Yeah, I think that's by looking at the string that is attached to the end of the scroll. You can see that this tag was snipped from elsewhere and then tied onto this one very carefully. So she very clearly thought it was something else.
Okay.
Does that seem like a fair clue?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Chow Lin, what are you doing?
I'm going to look over the body for any sign of the poison that was used on a guy whose name I can't remember.
Black Pearl.
Black Pearl. It's an easy name. Why did I not remember it?
Let's have you make a study roll.
All right. Let's see what am I using for this. I think this is water.
Sure.
It's 8.
So that's one hold
Mhm.
or two hold with a cost.
Yeah, let me look at the do with the study. Yeah, I'll pay a cost and get a clue.
Okay. So, Shanai, you look up as Shaolin is examining the body, and you see that Shaolin has been watching you like a hawk. Like there's a look in Shaolin's eyes, like he has realized something about you, or he's like watching your manner, and you realize that you've been investigating this just like your uncle, and Shaolin has seen that.
How can I not? He raised me. Who else can I investigate?
You think that's your first reaction?
You pick
There's
up the edge
probably
of
a
the
certain
paper
amount of
exactly the way he does.
defensiveness. But she adds like a little pout to the end of it. So that's
You will, Shaolin, check this. You do not see any evidence of the same kind of butterfly poison. Like you don't see any of those particulates. However, it is clear to you that she died from poisoning. And you look carefully at this, and it takes you a second. You're checking the body, and there's the slightest smell of something that's not exactly vinegar, but something of that sort. And you realize that the poison is something she touched. And you kind of lean over, and you realize.
I like immediately kind of grab.
Yeah, I think we see Shanai like
hand, like
licking her finger to turn the page. You grab her back as you realize, yes, that this scroll is the source of the poison. Does that seem like a fair clue? Song Da Baoshi, you will see as the two of you have been kind of, you were at the end of last time you were talking with one another. You will see Sister Lushan perhaps a little more frazzled, certainly showing some emotion, come in, look around, and make a beeline over to the two of you. And she says, there has been a killing. Your compatriots are in the scroll chamber. And she'll kind of point.
Someone got to Black Pearl after all?
Not Black Pearl.
See. Yeah.
This young woman who I saw moving about earlier.
Thank you very much. Yes, we will rush to see what is afoot.
And I think Song Da, Baoshi, two of you proceed down that hall. Again, we're in the back part of the temple, and you will look into this scroll chamber. Song Da, your eyes light up. Look at all of these scrolls and papers and things. Oh,
He rushes over to the desk to start touching things.
Yes. Shaolin slaps your hand. But you will see laid out on the floor is that young woman, Winter Iris. You will see that Shanai is examining the scrolls. Shaolin is kind of, moving things away carefully from the others, and has been checking the body.
Oh my! What have you found, Shanai?
Well, Shaolin is the one who realized that this particular scroll is poisoned. What I noticed was that the scroll is mislabeled. It's supposed to be the temple records of the Temple of the North. In fact, it's just a fairly common botanical guide to plants in the South. I mean, this is like one of the first. Anyway, it is a very common scroll. But it's
So
been poisoned.
misdirection.
It was mislabeled that way. Someone knew someone would be going for perhaps this particular scroll, the history of the Temple of the North, and made sure that it would be the last thing that someone looked at.
Why not just poison the original scroll itself?
Well, we don't know where it is. Perhaps it has been absconded with, or perhaps it is actually valuable, and they would like it to not poison people who needed to look through it.
It's a little disturbing to be investigating 2 poisonings at one dinner.
Indeed.
Poisoners are the most nefarious killers, in my opinion. No honor to it at all.
We'll hear back from behind the doorway. You'll hear, I agree. You'll turn and you'll see Lady Fathom is standing there. She says, I understand that someone has died.
And
Step aside.
yeah, and I think I'll look at Baoshi to do the talking, but she will go, yes, Sister Lushan called us because she knows that we have investigated these things before. And she does bow politely, but clearly Baoshi, she expects you to do the actual talking. Since you're famous.
Yes, I will bow as well. One can only imagine that it is connected to poisonings. Completely independent would be unusual, though it is important to not rule anything out. I think that perhaps we should lengthen the time that the guests are being held here.
That is practical. I have overseen the return of the Empress and the Prince to their chambers.
I presume that they are safe and well guarded.
Yes. I will pass word to them that a member of the entourage has died.
Tragic.
Do you know what it was that Winter Iris came here to research?
No, she says, very clearly lying. I will take my leave and report to the Empress. As to this, I leave you to your duties.
Very well. Thank you. Oh, we will report back to you as soon as we know more.
Yes, yes, I should go. And she'll kind of abruptly turn on her heel. You kind of expected her to maybe step in and take charge here, or kind of try to push her weight around. But you think when she saw who was dead, that changed her mind.
And so I think even before Lady Fathom has quite left the room, Shania says, did speak with her previously. I had the impression that she may have been looking into indigo judgment.
Definite hesitant step there at the threshold to think of her maybe pausing to see if she'll hear anything more, and then realizing she can't stand there too long without it being obvious, and she will move on.
Okay. And I think if anything, I said just perhaps she also was wronged by him.
Wait, she was here investigating who?
Indigo judgment.
For what?
Well, maybe he had some relation to the Temple of the North.
Well,
Do you know where he came from originally?
Oh, there are many different stories about Indigo Judgment. I think he's written several different accounts himself.
Yeah, truth is not his foremost. What do you say? The light by which he chooses his path, perhaps, is the way to say that.
Well, there is truth, and there are truths, and there's shades to things.
Yes, yes.
The difference between history and legends, I presume.
Exactly.
That sounds very, very pleasant, but there are people who have fallen on the how should we say, this side of his legends that may paint things very badly for them and not truthfully so.
I will say that I had an opportunity before this dinner to speak with Indigo, and he certainly led me to believe that he would not look friendly upon anyone digging overly deeply into him or, well, at least what he said to me, much of anything.
Oh, no, he's a very private person.
Private enough to poison someone?
But no, I mean, definitely no. That's what I meant to say.
That's good.
At this point, I think it is unwise to make definite statements on any suspect.
Certainly out loud.
And she sort of stops and says, I did not put that forward as a person who is a suspect, merely as what her agenda was. So I would assume that at least for some reason, these particular scrolls, or at least what they are labeled as, were things that would put her on that path to her thinking. Well, do these scrolls seem arranged the way that a librarian would arrange scrolls that they plan to go through? Or do they have that kind of thing of that someone's picked up a bunch of them, put some away and put others back?
Why don't you make a study roll for me?
Okay, I know what this is. Roll, team die. Let's do it.
Yes.
Yes, I know.
You want me to engage the mechanics, you monster?
You're such a monster. 11.
11. So you have 2 hold. Do you want to ask a question, make a declaration? I can certainly tell you some things about this.
Yeah, I think at this point I don't have like a thing, so making a declaration doesn't make much sense. I will lead the way with.
You want to know kind of what's up with these scrolls. I think you will see it is a very odd assortment.
It is.
And they do look like they've been gathered up here to be looked through, perhaps in a hurry, like let's get this done quickly while everybody else is at dinner. I think you will note, as you kind of glance at them, given what Xiaolin has told you, you will find at least one other of these scrolls that is also poisoned. But the labeling here is...
Was it poisoned and mislabeled?
Yes. But the labels here seem weird. It's almost like maybe there's some pattern you're not seeing there, or something
like
of
there's
that
a
kind.
Code to them.
Yeah. You have another hold. Do you want to ask another question? Do you want to make a declaration?
I think I think when I look at the scrolls, instead of looking at what the subject matter is, can I discern what their origin was? Like if I go back to the library's boxes or manifest, you know, of what's been received, did these all come in one crate? Or are these from many places?
They're from many places. It looks to you like whatever is the pattern, there must be some kind of cipher to it. Maybe something that she knew that allowed her to choose out these things. Does that seem like a fair answer?
Mhm.
Okay. Let me come back to Chow Lin.
Yeah. Not too long here. Oh, is the other scroll that's poisoned also mislabeled?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if you said that or not, and I just zoned out, or
Sure. No.
Okay. What's it labeled as?
It's another like records of the dress of the Northern Shah during the period of Emperor Wazan.
Okay. Okay. Was that a long time ago? I guess
That was a while ago. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I want to check the lock.
Okay.
I remember Sister LaShawn said that the lock was blocked from or had a key in it from the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I want to look at the door and the key.
Okay. Let's have you make a study roll here.
Okay. What am I using? I think I'm still. Oh, can't use wood, so I'm still using water. Which is good because it's an 11.
Okay. So you have 2 hold.
Cool. Yeah, I'll take a clue.
Okay. Let me see what the good one is for this. So the key is clearly in the door.
Mhm.
And you kind of look at that and it looks like, I mean, you had to, it was in there, you had to work it to get it open. And you will look around and try and assess, okay, what are the other ways in or out of here? And I think that I imagine we see this almost a bit like kind of the pictures of, you know, blank figures moving through here. We get we see her sit up, we see the scrolls fall back in place, that kind of thing. You're moving around, you're looking in that way that we get the Holmesian vision of this. And I think you will see that there is like some ink that's been spilt on Winter Iris, and you see some marks in another spot. And I think you picture this. You picture that there was someone in here. And then another person came in, moved over to look at the body, and was at that point that they nudged some of the ink. She was already dead when the ink fell on her. And it was at that point that the other figure made their way out without being seen. The second person who came in, so a person who was in here when the death happened, and this other person that came in, the other person that came in clearly had something prepared to, they checked it, they looked, they came back, and they maybe took something. You're not sure, but they definitely were prepared and drew the lock, the key back up into the lock. And I think we see you looking at the key and seeing like the tiny little abrasions that tell you that something, perhaps a lodestone or a string or something, was used to draw the key up and back up into the lock.
Okay. Yeah, that's.
Does that seem like a fair clue?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's very interesting.
And that would be different than Sister Lucian, who...
Sister Lucian never came in here. Sister Lucian came to the door and wasn't able to.
She came in because she told us.
Oh,
yeah,
I
she said she
unlocked the
could get in.
door and there's a dead body.
Yeah. So yeah, I take that back. So yeah, she would have pushed the key as she described.
She pushed the key out. Okay.
And caught it and then opened it, which speaks to her having some skills that perhaps you did not expect.
Right.
But I think the thing that you will see is her steps, her passage there don't go more than a few feet into the room when she sees the body and turns around and comes back out.
Okay. So this was a person who came in, between the death and when she showed up, which is what I was wondering about, kind of the key in the lock. We'll put it there. All right.
Song Da.
Yeah. So I have that bile sample from Black Pearl and his poisoning, and we have a couple of these scrolls here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to collect one of those, and I think like on order of the Dowager Empress, go and like take over the kitchens of this inn,
Of the temple?
of the temple. Yeah. Like, is there some sort of like? I mean, we're having a
yes.
feast.
There's an area that would have been used for the preparation of the monks to serve the temple that has been occupied by the royal chefs who are here, who are still here because they've not been allowed to leave, and they will perhaps be a little irritated as they are kind of driven into another smaller room. But you can have the space here in the kitchen and access to the fire and the water and so on.
Yeah, and I want to do some like mad kitchen alchemy and sort of making homemade stills and things to draw out aspects and study these poisons.
Okay. So does that feel like a study roll?
I also have the 14 blades to make.
Are you going to create a strange substance then instead?
Yeah.
What are you going to create?
I don't know.
A potential antidote or a doubly potent poison?
Oh, how about something that reacts visibly to the ingredients of the poison?
Okay. To which one?
So that was part of what I was wanting to find out too.
They've already
is that-
established that two poisons are very different.
Okay. I think the butterfly poison to start with, because we know
Sure.
it was made from several less less dangerous substances.
Yeah. You had already got the bile, so I think that's the materials you would have needed to do that, and you've got space, so I think those sort of requirements are set. So let's have you roll. What do you want to roll that with?
So this is a perfect situation where wood with patience and curiosity would be great, but
Yeah.
I don't have that. So we're gonna go a step down and take caution and focus from earth, because I think that might be important when studying several deadly poisons.
Okay.
But that means it's just a flat roll. And that's a 5.
The what?
That's a 5.
That is a 5. So I think that this is the point at which you discover the potency of this particular poison. As you start to try to break it down and mess with it, and I think there is a moment when it reacts. Some compound in it responds to what you're doing, as if someone had created this poison so that people tried to break it down or analyze it. It would be very difficult to do. And
But who would do that? That's so rude.
I would like you to mark the element that you rolled with
Oh, that's earth.
and wounded.
Oh.
As you stagger back, you kind of slump down in the kitchen. It didn't get much of it. You're cautious. You're smart, but you got enough of the taste of it that you find yourself kind of shivering there on the floor of the kitchen.
Oh, that's that did not go right.
This is definitely not a simple like thing. This concoction is definitely a poisoner's art with all of that skill that is implied from that. Bao Shi, Song Da heads out. What are you doing?
We'll go to my old faithful of rifling through the victim's pockets. I'm going to look through the possessions of this poor unfortunate soul.
Sure. Why don't you make a study roll for me?
Alrighty. I think this is probably awareness, wisdom, that sort of thing.
And
So
roll with water.
And rolling. I got the same exact roll Patrick got. So a 5, but I have a better stat. So that takes me to a 7.
Takes you to a 7. Now,
I think I'm going to cross out one of my shadows.
which
I haven't done that in a while.
yeah, which one are you going to do?
I'm going to do betrayal.
And what is the flashback that we see for you there?
We see a younger, but not a hugely younger, Bao Shi. Before the timeline of our show has been going on, though. And we see that he is at a kind of a soiree, a meeting where there are people, discussing topics. And we begin to get the impression that this is perhaps the Mingxi Society,
Mhm.
his group that he is supposed to be a part of. And there is, discussions going on of various mysteries and all of that sort of thing. And 2 of the older members, a man and a woman, are rather loudly arguing. I mean, kind of making a bit of a scene. And people have come around, and the gentleman looks over towards Baoshi and says, "Oh yes, young Bao, come." And Baoshi comes over. Yes, master. And we are discussing the triple poisonings of the Laoshu family. All members of the household found dead inside of their locked fortress. Poison was clearly what had done them in. Yet no one else was inside of the fortress. I am certain that this was the Lord himself who poisoned his family and then himself. Whereas my colleague here feels certain it was the wife who murdered her child and her husband, not realizing that in the process she had poisoned herself. Surely you're aware of this conundrum that has thwarted many great detectives over the years. And Baoshi says, of course. And Baoshi begins going through the details, and in a way that I think people who've watched our show would recognize of Baoshi's sort of putting things together. And comes out with, I believe, in fact, it was the young child who had inadvertently put together blah, 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 concoction, and in fact, accidentally killed his entire family. And there's a moment where the crowd's kind of, and the man and woman begin laughing uproariously. Well, it turns out that they had done this purely to embarrass me. That in fact, within the last few months, it had been determined, they had found the writings, that there had actually been a maid who had poisoned all of the food in the entire castle and left. And that I was simply just not aware of how things had gone. And everyone laughing at me. And it's the last time I ever went to the society. And is in fact, there's the impression that I'm not even really a member any longer of the society.
I think maybe in the flashback, the last bit is we see you taking the token that you have from the Mengshi Society and putting it in a drawer and shutting that drawer. And I think as we cut back to the present, concealed well, hidden away well on the body, very deliberately with some skill, you will draw forth a token, and you will see as a token marking this woman as a member of the Emperor's personal dragon guard. Not the Empress, the Emperor's. That's where we're going to take our first break. So I like to imagine that we kind of finish off in that room with the scrolls.
Was that a clue?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That
The
it should
token
go
of
on
the
our clue
Dragon
board.
Guard is a clue.
Okay. And could you remind me of something real quick?
Sure.
The Emperor we have now,
Yes.
is that the brother or is it the heir to
His
the first son?
his brother was emperor before him and passed away.
Right.
And that brother's wife, essentially his sister-in-law, is the Empress Dowager, who is here.
Okay.
He is not married, but he has, in the sense of a formal empress that he has, but he has, of course, a number of concubine, brides and some heirs from that.
And we were told there is a prince heir that comes from the old emperor, correct?
The old emperor has some children, yes.
And is at the moment considered the heir to the emperor now, since he
Oh,
doesn't have a...
no, he's not.
Oh, okay.
He's
So
not heir.
his other
The
side
Empress
of the
Dowager's
sheet...
children have lost their possibility of,
okay.
unless the emperor's issue passes, then they will not be in line for that throne.
Okay. All righty. Cool. Thank you.
So we're going to come back with the three of you kind of coming out, securing that room, and having a chance to talk amongst yourselves about that. And then in a moment, we'll bring Song Da back into the picture.
As a corpse?
So yeah, the three of you have a chance to talk here, with a little bit of privacy while all this is kind of going on.
This becomes a bit more complicated with our murder victim, an actual agent of the Emperor.
And Ixnay says, certainly she was on an investigation that led her to these scrolls, and the scrolls were purposely set up. So they may have been a trap, but a trap that may not have been set by someone who is here.
Again, to clarify, all these scrolls are still in like packaging for transport. They haven't been put up. Is that correct, Lowell?
Some of them have been put up and some of them have not. Some of them have arrived and are still in boxes, and some of them are on the shelves.
Gotcha. Okay. Yes, that is entirely possible, Shania. I was, I have to admit, I saw a bit of a hesitation from, I'll try to get her name real quick.
Lady Fathom?
Yes, but she seemed rather definite when she said that she had no idea what our poor victim was looking into.
Maybe
She specifically had Winter Iris on her radar. I saw her shush her away from the main party when things were going on. I don't know if that was a dismissive thing or a protective move.
You tell us that you think she's lying? Was lying when she told us that?
Yes.
Oh. Well, I have to admit, you have a much better sense of that than I do. I admit people sometimes lie to me, and I don't recognize it.
She
I have noticed.
Because you always discover eventually.
Well, Iron Lotus chides me about it all the time.
Iron Lotus has a certain sort of intuition that surprises me over and over again.
Yes.
I don't say anything. I actually sort of busy myself looking at the scrolls like I'm trying to pick the cipher out.
Jana, you said that you thought Winter Iris was investigating Indigo Judgment.
Yes, they asked me about Indigo Judgment if I knew anything. And when I said that he associated himself with moments of power in situations and was exerting his own influence, her eyes narrowed even more. It was as if I was confirming something.
Well, there's not much higher power for him to associate with than
And she sort of
someone
says,
working directly for the Emperor.
for the Empress Dowager.
Well,
Who
well, no,
knows?
the token that she had.
Oh, I know her. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I was talking about Indigo Judgment.
So was I in a roundabout way. I just, I mean, would Indigo Judgment have associated with enough power to become an enemy of the Emperor?
How did the Emperor pass, Lowell? Under what circumstances?
The emperor, this is again this is to say the late emperor died after a prolonged illness, is what he said. A study roll for digging deeper into that might be necessary. Perhaps the historian might be able to provide you with some perspective.
All right.
Let
Yes, we should probably go get Song Da. Wait, why would Song Da know?
let me cut away from the three of you for a moment, if I may. There is a thundering kind of roaring in your ear, Song Da, and you'll feel someone has a hold of your head, and they are pouring something into your mouth, and you hear them saying, drink this, it will help. And as your eyes kind of flutter open, you will see Moon and Thunder is there. And he has a bottle, and he will say, just to be careful. You seem to have drunk something that was deleterious to you.
I think my cooking skills are not quite to the level that I had supposed them to be.
And you'll see him look up at the table, and he says, I hope that you were not trying to cook.
Well, no, not exactly. I was making a funny joke about my near demise.
Let me help you up. I'll raise you, kind of lift you up, and he will say, this is a general remedy. Finish drinking this. It should help you recover your strength.
Is the taste part of the cure?
No, it's a bonus.
Oh, how wonderful. So many new
You don't care for licorice?
Oh. It is a taste I find haunts me.
May I ask what it is you were attempting there? There is a strong sense of dark, corrupted chi to the work that you were doing.
Oh, it was a very clever plan, actually. I read about it. One of the ancient Wulin masters. I was going to make a substance out of the poison, but not like the whole poison, a dilution of the poison, and then you mix it with certain flour chemicals, and then spray it lightly over an entire, say, second try at a banquet, and then anybody whose hands have touched any of the ingredients of the poison that touch the plate, then it turns purple, and then everybody at the dinner says, "Ah, it was you that poisoned them," and Songda figured it all out, and we like him a lot.
Just catch your breath. You seem to have lost the materials that you were working with.
What?
And I think you'll see that whatever you're working with, essentially, that this reaction has kind of burnt the compound into kind of a char there.
Pokes a wooden spoon down into some of the ash. Oh. It's gonna be difficult, or at least unpleasant, to get another sample.
You want another sample?
The implications aren't great, but the point was to try and find the poisoner,
I see.
or
All right.
attempted poisoner, or figure out if the successful poisoner and attempted poisoner were the same person, or working together, or cousins maybe.
You see cousins having that kind of close tie?
I'm,
Do you have
I'm
a cousin
sorry.
that you were that close to?
Things are still a little diagonal.
Will you be all right if I leave you on your own?
He looks around the fume-laden, char-covered kitchen. I should be fine. It's perfectly good. Very good.
May I tell the kitchen staff that they can clean up in here very carefully?
You might want to tell them to just maybe generally dispose of. I don't know if cleaning's gonna really get down in the. Plus, all the poison.
Well, then I will tell them to come in here and speak with you, and you can explain to them how to take care of the poison so no more people die, as this is a kitchen.
Look, I had a very specific plan. None of
Did
this
I-
was part of it.
Did I question your plan? I don't believe I did.
No.
In fact, I was not deliberately not questioning your judgment or suggesting that this may have been a foolish action for you to have taken, especially in a kitchen. I'm merely saying that from this point forward, someone cooking in this kitchen might cause others to become ill, and you certainly do not wish that, do you?
I do so appreciate your tact in all of this.
I will go and tell the staff to come and speak with you. And he will head out a door. I think as that door like swings and he's gone, I think that's when we see Janai kind of poke her head in with the other, kind of looking for you. And you'll see Songda standing in a very smelly, empty kitchen.
Oh my goodness, what has happened?
We did the night at the opera heads.
I did not poison myself
Excellent.
to death.
Then why are you lying on the floor?
And so very pale.
I was just moments ago. I was very
Why
soundly
do you
assured
smell
that
like
I was
licorice?
standing up.
Oh goodness, that's what that is. Licorice and burning?
Mm. Your investigation was not a success, shall I presume?
I have uncovered that we are dealing with very dangerous poisons.
I will move over and do you feel like standing, or perhaps getting off the floor and sitting?
Again, I was quite sure that I was already standing.
Well, I will help
Please.
you up and kind of move you over to. I'm guessing there's probably a bench or something
Yeah.
here for you to sit on.
Did
I-
you see that nice monk? He was very nice.
Yes. Didn't we? Did we see him?
No, I don't think any of you
I would
saw
go,
him.
what nice monk.
A monk. Well, you're perhaps hallucinating.
Had horrible, horrible tea. Like your uncle. Just awful stuff.
Oh, I am so sorry. Here, and I think she'll go through her pockets and she'll come out with like a ginger candy for you. Maybe this will help.
Oh, so many flavors.
Well, we have discovered a few other things that are.
Oh, no, maybe don't lean on that.
Oh, yes. I suppose things will need to. We'll need to tell the staff to please. You do realize
people
this is a
keep telling,
kitchen, right?
People keep mentioning the room that we are in. Yes.
Yes. We were kind of coming to seek a little of your particular knowledge on Imperial history.
So not poisons then.
No.
That's that might be a better idea.
It would seem that our murder victim, and I'll hold up the token, was one of the Emperor's dragons.
Oh, there are many stories about the Emperor's Dragon Guard.
Yes.
Oh, I assume I might have heard some of them. I don't know.
So let's kind of cut to another room after the staff has been detailed to how to clean things up here, and you're sitting and recovering. Tea has been brought to you. I think as the tea is being set down carefully for you, Baoshi, you'll look up to thank the maid to who has brought that in for you. And you will see that your associate,
First Orchid
is in a little maid's outfit she's lifted from someone and has set that down there, and she will say, "I prepared this myself, my lord."
Yeah, with as much poison as is going around, I'm glad that such personal attention was had. As I lift an eyebrow.
Oh, I hope no one is feeling unwell. I will be in the background should you need me, my lord.
Thank you. And I will give a big smile.
and if it had gone right, that would have been a perfect situation. If that nice, innocent young maid had been a poisoner, well, her hands would have turned purple, and we all would have said, "Ah, you're the poisoner, young maid," and everybody would have said, "Sogda did a good job."
Well, I applaud your attempt. That would indeed make things considerably easier. And I'm also quite impressed with your newfound desire for chemistry, though perhaps a bit more practice on less dangerous things might be in order. The truth is, as we kind of settle in, this goes all the way to the top, it would appear. And we could very well be embroiled in something both highly dangerous, but isn't it exciting? And the four of us, right here in the very midst of imperial politics, death. This is the sort of thing that legends are built on, isn't it, Sogda? This is where legends are built.
Well, I mean, yes, a lot of the legends they start that way. Like I said, with the Imperial Guard, temples, dowagers and many. Am I still talking?
Yes. We brave, intelligent four, we're very good at this. The truth is, this could be our moment to make our reputation.
Oh, see? I don't want a reputation, but I would happily see all of you exalted as you deserve.
Shania, your name needs to be spoken of. You are brilliant.
It's no. The last thing I want to be associated with is anything to do with the throne.
I would suggest, if I may interrupt, that someone might want to do a comfort and support role to help Song Da remove that -2 ongoing wounded condition.
I will keep on feeding him candies.
Okay.
That will help.
Shinai, do you wish to roll comfort and support?
Yes. See here.
There's so many different flavors of spiced candies.
I know. I also have haw, like candied haw. It's just delicious, but it's a little tart. I didn't know if you could handle it yet. Here I am rolling. Oh, I have to say what I'm rolling with. Sorry, hold
Yes,
on
you
a
do.
second. Should I roll with my old favorite? Till I can't anymore. Let's see here. How about everything else is kind of the same-ish. Oh, wisdom. I will roll with a +1.
Okay.
I'm hoping that this goes well. So
Me
it's an
too.
8. It's an 8.
I've had some really questionable meals recently.
Yes.
So Song Da, you may clear your wounded.
Oh, that's nice.
I think I'm watching this like, Janae, you didn't tell us you had healing powers, but we've seen that you twice tonight.
Oh, this is just candies from the market. Sugar helps a lot when you've been, conked out. Yeah.
Poisoned. But the fact that you know that, I would not have occurred to me to give someone who had just been poisoned candy. And
the first with Black Orchid, you didn't even need candy, should I?
And she kind of goes, that was the song of the mountain. That was the riddle that I solved when I was 15.
That you
well, if
solved.
you don't already have a reputation, you should.
Well, that's why my name is Lost Song Shadai. But usually only Blue Mountain folk know what that means.
Song Da, one of the things that was brought up in the question that you kind of alluded to was, what do I know about this whole Imperial mess? Do you want to make a study roll for that?
Sure.
Okay. What do you want to roll that with? Now that your wounded is gone.
Which makes it much nicer. I think it would be fire. I think it's that passion, like his, all the time that he's spent just reading all of the histories he can get his hands on, sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Nope, not more dice, more numbers. What's the other one? There we go. Oh, that's a 12.
That is a 12. So let's look at that 12 because on a 12 plus, you gain 3 hold. Okay. You can, if you wish, gain a clue associated with a mystery facet and rewrite that facet. You can gain a clue and then ask a question, or ask a question and then gain a clue. You could reveal a detail and then gain a clue. You could establish a whole bunch of details. What would you like? The world is your oyster with 3 hold.
I mean, I'm probably going to do that fancy 3-hold one, because how often do I get that? But I definitely want a clue, so why don't I hear the clue first, and if I can think of an easy way to do the facet thing, then I'll do that as well.
Well, let me consider something here for you. Would you like to first ask your Smiling Proud Wanderer question to help you get some context and then do that?
Sure.
So what is the question that you would like that might help you get some context here?
So the Dragon Guard. I want to sort of know about their desires. Obviously, they were there to protect the Emperor, but what sort of drew them in? Like, were they paid well, or was it military service, or great devotion, or
Dragon
heroes collected?
Guard are those who are specifically selected by the Emperor. They are charged with that Emperor's service and devotion. They act as guards, they act as spies, they act as messengers. Their numbers in truth are only known to the Emperor. There is said to be a spy master who probably knows within the Imperial household most of them, but the Emperor still has those they don't. They are very well honored, but they're also, when the old Emperor dies, so do the Dragon Guard.
Oh,
Because they know too much.
gotcha.
But I think
It
you'll
was a
definitely
very, like,
see that the marker
personal
that is,
connection
the
relationship.
marker that is on this thing is of the present Emperor.
Oh, okay. That was
So
in
she is
Dryas's pocket.
definitely an agent of the present Emperor.
Okay, interesting.
So now you would like a clue, right?
Yes.
I think that as you are kind of looking over the things, let's see what good one to do here for this here. It's an interesting one because I want to see how I associate it with the questions about the Emperor and those things. I think that you will realize, and I'm assuming that like the things that were found on her body have been brought out as well here. And Songda, as your eyes are kind of going over and looking at all of this and so on, you realize that she has in her possession a hairpin with some beautiful etching on it. It was not in her hair, but amongst her possessions there. And I think that as you look at it, you will have a flashback to the puzzle swords and to your knowledge of this. And you kind of look at this and you realize that this is shaped in a way that there has to be a matching hairpin that, when placed next to each other, will fit together with this so as to identify another person. So someone else must have the other half of this here. What their relationship is to Iris is unclear. Maybe a fellow Dragon Guard, maybe a informant, something of that sort. But you can see that this is part of a matched pair to confirm identity. Does that seem like a fair?
Yeah.
Now, you could put that in and add a new facet at the facet 4, or you could modify one of the existing facets.
I think I want to modify one of the facets, the first facet, the murder of Winter Iris.
Okay.
And how are we writing these? Is it as a like fake heading like that, or would we write it as a particular question that we're investigating? I don't have as much.
It's a
Yeah.
thing that
Familiarity
we
with the
have to
facets.
explain as
Yeah,
part
just
of
kind of
the
a, you can
mystery.
write it more of a question, or more generally, we're going to kind of tie it into some of the facts later.
So what I'm feeling from that is that the murder there is less about Winter Iris personally and more about whatever secret mission she may have been here for.
Yeah. Mission of the Dragon Guard.
Yeah.
Is that what you want? And we'll associate that with that hairpin then. Sound good?
Yeah. Nice.
Okay. So whoever has the other half of this hairpin, they are tied into that mission. So we got that as an established fact for the play. And I assume you share that with everybody. And
Yes, there's all. Oh my god, the pen, and like he sort of babbles on about the structure of the Dragon Guard and the history of them through all of the successive emperors and the sort of traditions of them. And as he does, like he's popping in more and more of these candies, and I think his voice is getting stronger and like less hoarse as he's getting more animated about all these like secret missions and the stories of espionage by Wulin from the palace and all that sort of stuff.
Fascinating. Theoretically, despite the idea that all members of the Dragon Guard pass with their emperor, really only the master at the top knows who they all are. This is going to be quite complex. We may need to speak soon with Her Imperial Majesty.
Yeah.
I'm wondering.
You want to question the Dowager Empress?
I don't think she's the murderer, no. But she may have information.
I like the hesitation there for a second.
But she may have information that is relevant to the investigation. Well, I'm wondering.
Sure.
Bao and Chow kind of bigging up Janai there. Was there a comfort and support? Primarily, I'm pushing for maybe Chow in there with me helping out.
I was aiming for
build some
that, but didn't
bonds.
finish what I was doing. Yeah, like I did.
Sure.
I had originally meant to aim for that, yes.
Then let's have you resolve that, Chow.
Yeah, I think I think I just look at her and kind of like half smiles, like, you know, your when I knew your great uncle, he had a lot of secrets too. I wonder what else he's taught you. But it seems like you're doing quite well without him around.
And she sort of stops and she goes, he was absolutely the best. I learned everything I could from him. And then she sort of stops and she goes, if I can be like my great uncle, I will be who I want to be. Not him, like him.
Well, seeing you in the schoolroom, I'm glad he's still alive, or I would have thought you were him reincarnated.
And she sort of stops and she goes, oh, I take that as a compliment.
Now, what do you want to roll that comfort and support with?
It's, I think this is control, calculation, and reflection. Yeah, I think this is all of those things.
Yeah.
That's fun. Oh, it's a 7.
Okay. They can choose you to clear a marked element if Janai wishes to, or Janai can give you a bond with her.
Please take a bond with me.
Okay, I will do so. Somehow I don't have. Probably because I can't spell it.
There is
Cool.
a knock at the door, and it's a very brief knock. There's a like a 1-2 beat, and then the person opens the door as because they always just open doors, and so on. You will see the mayor's friend, Master Jiaxing, kind of looks in, and he will say, I trust everything is well, friends.
Yeah, of course, yes. Yes, we are. And as you know, there has been tragedy here within the temple, and we are trying our best to noodle through this conundrum.
I know I was told that you were in charge, and I am grateful that you have moved the Empress Dowager and the prince to safety. The hour grows late, and I was hoping that I might be permitted to return to my chambers in the other part of the house, where the Empress is. I am overseeing that. I have some duties there. I do not wish to push you, Master Baoshi. As you know, as our conversation, I have the utmost respect for you.
Of course, yes.
But I wonder if I might be granted some leeway, some dispensation to be permitted to leave and return there. I just want to make sure that everything is taken care of to the Empress Dowager's satisfaction there.
Of course, well, yes, that makes a great deal of sense. We will quickly convene and go and speak with those appropriate about handling that. So
Excellent. I will not take my leave. I will go and wait. And when I have word from you, I will leave then.
I see.
And he will bow and thank all of you and head out.
Okay, I was trying to look. Did anybody else see a hairpin?
Well, no. Um, should I, all of us, I suppose, do we intend to keep everyone here locked down in
Sure, Black
perpetuity?
Pearl's choice. But there are some people that we need to understand where they're going to. And that we can reach them quickly.
Yeah.
That would be the ones that I'm concerned about.
Yeah, I suppose this is more to the bit of a, do we think keeping the mystery, everybody locked in is our route, or do we think we're going to have some time pass out? What are you thinking, Lowell?
I think the best way to do this is that each of you get a scene with one person who maybe is here to kind of check in and talk with them. So we get a little NPC interaction, and then don't leave town kind of thing. Get where they're at. Like I would say, the general, the mayor, the abbot, Moon and Thunder, Guy Cheng, Indigo, Lord Yao, 11th Hound. Those are all possibilities for people to talk to kind of do that. But I think you realize that there's enough Imperial Guard that things are safe, and you're going to have to figure things out and talk to people. Sound good?
Yeah.
Let's take our second break, take a quick 5, and then we'll come back and do a once around with some NPC interactions.
That sounds excellent.
So let's start with Baushi. Let's start from the top of the track here. Who would you like to kind of have a debrief conversation with before you send them on?
I'm sort of torn.
And if you want to have somebody else go too, feel free to say that.
I would like to let me skip.
Okay. Song Da. Do you want to maybe talk to the general or someone else?
Yeah, I like the general.
Okay. So I think when you go in, the general is, of course, ready to be a little upset at the delay, but he will see you and he will say, the Grand Tactician, Master Da, come, tell me, what news do you bring?
Oh, well, did you hear about, there was another second poisoning? There's more poisoning, lots of poisoning going around.
Does Black Pearl still live?
Oh, actually, I asked the exact same thing. No, actually, it wasn't Black
Great
Pearl.
minds think alike, yes. Oh, but not Black Pearl.
Winter Iris, a simple scholar and historian who was here in town.
I see.
With the entourage.
I see.
Yes. Anyways, we've determined that the poisons were very dangerous.
Is there some connection between Black Pearl and this Winter Iris?
Well, that was on my list of questions, yes.
Again, great minds. Yes.
So I assume you don't know anything about Winter Iris or connection to Black Pearl or some mad poisoning villain that's recently moved into town that has a vendetta against both of them?
Let's have you make a study move.
Well, now that you mention it. I would love to do fire because I just took it up to 3 with my XP from earlier. I don't think that's exactly this though. Because he's trying to be cagey and get some information out. So I think it might be awareness and wisdom.
Sure, and you get some bonds in case something goes terribly wrong.
Oh, but that's a 13.
Okay, so you have a 13. So you've got 3 hold.
So during this conversation, I find ways to slip dragon and guard into the conversation, and I've like picked up that hairpin, and I've like pushed my hair back at one point, and it's sort of ostentatiously there. I'm trying to get a sense if he knows anything or has any connection to the dragon guard, either past or present.
So I think there is in the conversation, and maybe when he sees the hairpin, you have the definite sense that he served closely enough to the previous emperor that he is aware of who the Dragon Guard are, and perhaps was highly placed enough that maybe he recognizes a sigil, like one of their tools in this, and that does like that makes him very clearly makes him nervous when that is brought up. You don't think he is the other person who has the hairpin, but he definitely knows enough about them that this has him worried. So that's one hold.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking through NPCs and thinking. I'm curious if he knows anything about Black Pearl and what trouble he may have gotten himself into, or why someone might be after him. Would that be more of a question thing or more of a clue thing?
I think it's more of a clue. You could ask it a different way for a
Yeah.
question.
Don't forget you have Smiling Proud Warrior, so that first question could be that.
Because we are in a different scene.
Yeah, as we're talking about Black Pearl, does he know of anyone that Black Pearl has had like strife or trouble or an argument or, you know, problems in the past with out of the group here?
He says, I know that Black Pearl is a professional. He is one of those people who have made themselves indispensable, both to the late emperor and to this emperor, and has managed to maintain their position in both emperor's service, something that some people, and kind of like gesture to himself, were not able to maintain. As you can imagine, that makes him valued by some and suspicious to others about where his loyalties lie. I would not dare to say such a thing. But I am sure that there are some here who have some questions. He made a name for himself some time ago. And I mean, he comes from this area. So perhaps he was asked to come here because of his ties to the Verdant Sword Alliance.
Oh. Nice. So yeah, I think at this point then we've talked about both murder victims and the Dragon Guard and the Imperial stuff. Like we've talked about a bunch of things.
Yeah.
I think a clue in from something in all of that.
He says, it is a thing that I am uncertain about. And I know that you and your companions interacted with the Verdant Sword Alliance people, and I heard rumors that some of these things were tied back to the death of the Great Master.
There are many disturbing connections that have been made between some of the worst periods in history recently.
He says, I know that when the Great Master and his three great apprentices were killed, though from what I heard, you discovered that Master's son was one of those apprentices, correct? That he had been involved with that?
That sounds true.
That's going all the way back to that first mystery.
Yeah.
I'm not naming the master because I can't remember his name right this second, but we're calling him the Great Master. Essentially, there was a
Was it
big guy who was killed,
Defon?
and it started a whole thing.
Mhm. And his 3 acolytes or whatever.
Yeah. He says, there are strong suggestions that the orders for that death and support for that murder came from the late emperor or the Empress Dowager.
Oh.
You are poking around in things that are very dangerous to poke around in, Master Song Da, and I would find it regrettable if someone found it necessary to kill you.
I have spent a long time trying to avoid that very thing myself.
Then we are of one mind on this.
Indeed. I tell you what, you let me know if you hear anything about anybody trying to poison or otherwise kill me off here, and I will let you know if I hear anybody coming after you.
If I hear any orders that you are to be killed, I will come and seek you out.
Good. That's very comforting. I can't think of a reason why that wouldn't be comforting.
Would it be possible for me to return to my chambers? I am an old man and I would like to rest. I will not be going far. We
Yes,
can
yes.
speak
The
tomorrow.
great detective Baoshi understands that people cannot spend extended periods cooped up in this temple. Just make sure that you don't leave the city and stay in contact.
Thank you. Thank you, Master Sangta. I look forward to speaking with you again. Lost Song Jinai. Who would you like to talk with? Muted.
So So I think the thing is that has been bothering Shania is that Abbot Yolong is here, and she kind of only fleetingly saw one other sort of religious person here at all. I think she was sort of, I think she wants to speak out Moon and Thunder to speak to them.
He is a little hard to find, but eventually you will find him in one of the side prayer meditation chambers, with incense burning, him seated there. It is unusual. Most you would expect that someone would be sort of facing towards that incense, you know, kind of meditating on the markers and the tablets and the sutras and stuff. But he has that burning, but he is seated and facing the door. And when you kind of peek your head in, and then we're going to say doorway rather than a door,
Exactly.
he does open his eyes and he will say, "Hello."
Well, I understand your name is Moon and Thunder.
It is. Is your friend the historian recovered?
He seems to be. He's talking the ear off of the old general. That tells me he's doing just fine. I gave him a great deal of candy and he was much better after that.
Sugar has a lubricating effect.
Exactly. She sort of stops and she goes, "I'm sorry to press in upon your meditations. I have the impression that you are not associated with the abbot here in particular."
Beg your pardon?
"Do you have," and then she goes, "The abbot mentioned that he did not have any of his associates here, that you were here merely because you had been given dispensation. Is that correct?"
I received dispensation from the master of the Western Temple to come here and meditate. The abbot was given things that was going on. The abbot was not entirely pleased with my taking up space here, but I have attempted to stay out of his way and make myself as invisible as possible. But I will correct you. The abbot does have some staff. They are just not in attendance this evening, and they tend to stay out of the sight of visitors behind the scenes. I've seen evidence of them coming and going.
And she sort of stops and says, "Is that normal sort of staffing?"
This is a very unusual temple. It has its own ways.
She goes, "I agree with you, but I have a very deep sense of foreboding about that, and I do not understand it."
Are you a seer? I am a Taoist, in part. I can believe in such things. Have you had some vision, some premonition of some kind?
I hesitate to give it the standing of a premonition.
But
Abbott seems like a very bad person.
an abbot being a bad person,
seems scandalous.
Why don't you make a study roll for me here, Lost Sanjanai?
I will. I am rolling 2d6 and I am adding water to it. So that gives me a 7. I am going to use one of my callbacks
Okay.
to improve that.
All right. Which one? And what's your flashback?
Oh, this is a good question. Let's see. Sorry, I flipped back to find the name of the master. Let's see here. I will. Think I will choose failure. And I have this sense, like I have, like the first thing that like my sense of it is of thunder is like what I hear. And then it's very much like I'm on the road with my great uncle again with Blue Mountain Scholar. And we've just left a monastery. And we're maybe like a mile away from it, walking away, when the lightning strikes and he turns back to look at it and he goes, oh, I've made a terrible mistake. And he starts running back towards it. And I remember following after him, but he actually outruns me. And when we get back, there's been a terrible murder. And no one knows, I mean, essentially it's a murder mystery. But my great uncle, like, I mean, he knows who did it. He could have prevented it. And it's that was having him running. That's what I remember, is that running back in the rain with thunder and realizing a mistake was made. And I sort of stop and I go, she just says, it feels terribly wrong. Move it up to.
So you want a clue?
Yes.
He will preface this with a statement. He will say, I have my reasons for being here. I was glad to be able to help your friend Song Da, because I have failed to help others when I could have in the past. And I think you have like a moment flicker where we flash back, we see Chow Lin's vision of that room. And I think you can see now that figure who was in the room when she died was him. There is a passage under the Buddha. The game here is more dangerous than you can imagine.
He nods. She bows. I'll do everything I can to make sure that there's no further tragedy.
There will be. And I'm going to cut from there to Chow Lin. Who do you wish to speak to?
There's several good options here, but I'm gonna talk to I think Grave of Saints.
He has been kind of at the background in this, quiet. You know that he is the representative of the Verdant Sword Alliance that came here, and he has just been listening to everything. And certainly, he recognizes your step as you approach. He will stand and he will say, "Brother Chowlin, how are you?"
I'm very well. Unlike several other people here. How about you?
So this is unpleasant matter. It's the third time I have been present when a tragedy like this has occurred. One would think that one would start to point at me as being involved, but of course there are the detectives as well, so I put things off in that way. Did you go and see Pine?
I did. Yes. She had some things to say. Well, she had some things to say about me, but also Indigo Judgment. I was wondering what you might have to say about them.
About Indigo Judgment? I do not know what to make of this whole thing with the Bureau of Legends and so on. There seems a weird tangle in this. Nobody's voices seem to match their intent when they're talking of these things.
Yeah, you're right. Just seems to me that, well, Indigo Judgment seems to be a name associated with a lot of these things, never directly in the center.
No, he has been a guest in the past of the Verdant Sword Alliance. He was present when this happened to me.
It was. What did happen?
I still do not remember.
He didn't tell you?
We were chasing a foe. Indigo Judgment happened to be present at the Alliance gathering at that time. I nearly had our quarry run to ground with Master Indigo nearby, and the quarry turned, and that is all I remember. Indigo said he threw some sort of substance in which struck me. But I have no memory of it at the time or immediately after. It is very strange. I lost several hours of time.
Another poison. So many different poisons. Well, I was going to ask, do you know anyone who any enemies of Indigo Judgment? But it seems there are probably many. Do you know of any that are here?
Well, I will tell you this. I know that there is someone here who has not made their presence known.
Why do you say that?
Because I have heard the tiny flapping in the distance.
Tiny flapping?
There is one who I have encountered before. I do not know his name, but he carries with him butterflies. He is here, moving very carefully to avoid anyone seeing him.
Your hearing must be amazing to hear a butterfly flapping. Thank you. I think I may know of the person that you speak of.
I thought I would share.
Thank you. Be careful what you touch around here.
Oh. May I be excused then?
Yes, yes.
I will be staying at the Verdant Sword Alliance chapter house in town if you have need of me.
All right. Thank you. And please, if you recall anything else that myself or Master Bashi or
Blue Mountain Scholar? Yes, absolutely. If
yes.
I will certainly tell him.
Yes, of course.
And Bao Shi.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go to find Lady Fathom.
Okay. I think that she is probably kind of between the Imperial area and this, and kind of maybe keeping watch around in the area between the temple and that Imperial household, and so on. And
I will come with my hands out, and
yeah, no, she is clearly patrolling, and she will recognize your step, and she will approach you. And detective,
my Lady Fathom, it is probably best that we go ahead and allow the attendants to leave. We will,
if you believe that is the right course, I will make it so.
Her Imperial Majesty and His Highness are well protected. I feel certain. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. We will continue the investigation, but holding up people here, I'm not entirely sure that that's going to help us. And there are quite a few knots that need untying amongst all of this. The poisoning of the librarian. The poison could have arrived with the scrolls. It could have been someone who wasn't even here. It appeared she was looking very particularly for something, and we begun to believe there was a cipher that would lead her to a path. However, what she found was not the answer she was looking for, but death instead. Has she been in Her Imperial Majesty's service for some time?
I do not believe so. I believe that she was a late addition to our traveling group here.
So she is
That-
not a familiar of Her Majesty.
No, I believe that she was sent along to review some records in the area or to record correspondence and things of that sort.
A great deal of it seemed to be issues of the North. And you have, she was new. Did you have much opportunity to interact with her?
No, while she was a scholar, she was an add-on to the
Mm.
the expedition. Someone who would get in the way of actual formalities.
As I say, she was looking for something. Something was supposed to be sent. She didn't find it, but that doesn't mean somewhere in this there aren't.
Sent by who?
Well, that is to be determined. We don't know the message. We don't know the sender. We only know.
Was she a
Yes.
spy or something? And when she says that, she's like, you could tell she's like, she clearly thought that she was a spy kind of thing. You're getting that kind of vibe. Is she a spy?
And I'm going to kind of drop from my enormous sleeve and pull up the token.
Her face goes white. Because she was a dragon guard?
So it would seem. I would like to use my we'll pull it up here. My demon catcher. No, I'm sorry.
I stalk her quietly and then I stab her.
I stab her. Tracing shadows.
Okay. What do you want to roll that with?
I think this is definitely calculation. This is me trying to and control. This is me trying to. I've set this whole conversation up for this.
Okay.
All right. Come on, baby, roll well. Woo! Yes, that's a 12.
So she is definitely a creature of the Empress Dowager. Like that's the entanglement. Like
Okay,
that
good.
she is devoted. She is a former dragon guard who is not killed. She is not supposed to be alive, but the Empress Dowager clearly rescued her from that. And that is why she has the absolute loyalty to the Empress Dowager. And she is genuinely shocked that Iris was a dragon guard.
Your mistress should know of this, and I believe there are very large things afoot. If she is willing, at some point I would like the opportunity for an audience.
I will pass that on to her. I should retire and wait upon her pleasure and speak with her when she awakens in the morning. You will excuse me, Master Detective.
And I think there's just sort of my hand moving out, and it disappears even before the sleeve.
Nice.
Of course.
And that feels like a good note for us to stop for today, doesn't it? Like, that's a good, got a nice kind of cliffhanger. We got some things set up. We got a lot of clues on the table. We can take it as slow or as fast as you all want it next time. We got a lot of pieces together. Let's do a quick check-in for XP. I do think we kind of indirectly hit your romantic there, Tyler.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
he keeps popping up. I've got to
yeah.
go find him shortly.
Maybe not the general, but definitely romantic. So let's give you 2 points for that.
Oh, no, definitely the general. He, again, extorted me when I said I don't want any credit.
Oh, that's true.
Yep,
Mm,
no, definitely.
Let's give you 3 points then.
thank you.
2 points Song Da because you got in a tongue tangle over Indigo Judgment there. I think that's
Yeah.
certainly fair. I think that reciprocally, Janai, you get 2 points for your general.
Perfect. I'm gonna clear my shadows. I can clear 4 of them.
Yes.
Okay. I'll do that.
Nice.
And Chow Lin. I think we definitely got your general there. Like we hit that with that
Yeah.
first scene.
Yeah.
So let's give you 2 points for that.
Okay.
So let's talk quick stars and wishes. We've got 2 sessions left for this particular mystery. Janai, let's start with you.
Oh my gosh, this mystery is so, ooh, there's so many things. Ooh, it's delicious. It's one of those where there's so many bad things happening or about to, or maybe could, that it really feels edge of the knife right now. The Baushi was fabulous and just that perfect detective who's ready to step into the spotlight, who is so certain and so it is, I just love it. The absolute best childhood friend that La Song Jun I could have, I think. It's just, yeah. And Shaolin, I really think Shaolin is coming into his own this time. You asked some of the best questions in the session.
Yeah.
And yeah, and you were just like so solid and so right there. And you're the one who's pushing me on the Blue Mountain Scholar stuff as much as anything. And I'm like, ouch. So while we have Tyler, also Shaolin was pushing on that. So I just really good, excellent stuff. And Songda is like the highs and the lows. You found all kinds of great information and you also almost killed yourself. I don't know. It's, if anyone runs the extreme gamut in a session, it is almost always you, and I appreciate that. I'm glad the candy helped. So that's all I can say.
Anything wishes wise?
No, this is like really delicious. So I think just more of this
Okay.
because wow, is it good. I feel sad for everyone I couldn't talk to, if that
Yes.
makes any sense.
Absolutely. Chow Lin.
Yeah, I mean, stars to Patrick for the like the whole reaction to being poisoned was hilarious. And you know, I also got the sense that he will immediately do this again. Like,
Yeah.
like just, you know, confused and injured and upset, but also not deterred at all. And I mean, sorry, Balshi and God damn it, Janai. There we go. I do know the names by now, I swear. Both like I really like how everyone is able to like portray their characters and reveal their characters and also ask useful questions. And like further the mystery. Everyone's doing such a great job at that. Like it's very It's very impressive and entertaining to see.
Anything wishes wise?
Yeah, I want to. I mean, find out what's going on with all
Okay.
this. Like the mystery suddenly got like just new parts of it kept opening up. And now I'm very curious about it. Also, at some point I need to talk to Sister Lushan, but I will do that next session.
Okay. All right, sister. Absolutely. That brings us to Baoshi.
Oh, this mystery is becoming sumptuously delicious. Oh my God. Oh, it just gets more and more complicated and beautiful. And it feels so dangerous. When I went and showed that token, I was like, oh my God, this could get me killed. Sort of danger. There's a lot of the when the general is talking with that was you, Songda, wasn't it? At the end there, and that felt dangerous. It felt like a true warning of you are getting into very deep water. It just feels so rich, Lowell. This one is really sweet, and I do like how much it's bringing in of our past stuff, and that's another big star. Ethan, it is amazing how well you're dealing with us. It's always a little difficult to have people who have like these deep things we're dragging in. You're hitting them, both you as a player, hitting them, kind of bringing them into what you're doing and working with that. But as a character, your focus and the way you take those little bits seems so perfectly. It's real life. It seems legit how you're interpreting them and bringing them into all our stuff here. I thought it was phenomenal. They're kind of digging into Indigo at the end. Your investigate at the beginning, very spectacular. They're just Ethan, you are knocking it out of the park every time. I think it's marvelous. The poisoning Patrick was phenomenal. A little mini wish. I can't wait till you actually get that move off. I'm so excited for you to get that move off. And Sherry, there's just something between our characters that I really love. There's such a familiarity and a comfort to how we interact that I love. You could tell they know each other really well, and it's always so smooth and easy. It's just lovely. My wishes, I honestly, and I've kind of tried to put seeds in, I'm trying to work towards like forming a society of our own. And I can see where that would be hard for Shania with the Blue Mountains being there, and that's hard with Songdam with his own group. But that's sort of what Bao is seeing, is this idea of we make our own great detective guild, our own society of detectives. And I hit a new level next. I plan to take on an apprentice. I'm going to pick up the move that lets me get an attendant. It's my clothing one, but I'm going to pick up an apprentice.
Absolutely.
So
and if you wish that to be Orchid, we certainly can.
I love her. And thank you so much for bringing her in. I was glad we were getting out of the bottle, because I feel like that's going to make it. It's going to spread it, and I wanted her to be a part of this, and it also felt like it would give me a chance to go find Songbird, which I think is necessary at this point. And that is another wish. I've kind of avoided seeing him this whole mystery. I got to go see him at this point. So that's sort of my wishes.
Okay. And Songda.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this session and the directions this mystery is going. I I I thoroughly enjoyed being poisoned. It was fun and it was ridiculous and it was such a terrible idea to begin with. So of course it went that way. But in that, I also just really like the weird sort of surreal visuals of waking up to Moon and Thunder and his just like disconnected from reality way of interacting with people was a really great sort of I think it helped the state of just post poisoning still not really here sort of aspect. But then I absolutely love this Dragon Guard stuff. The weird like secret agent, secret society aspect of it, and Lowell, I definitely want to give you a star for the like Chekhov's gun of okay, we're learning about the Dragon Guard, and they're all like personal secret agents of the Emperor. So obviously they are all definitely killed when he dies because you wouldn't want anything hanging over. And then we end the session with, of course there was one that wasn't killed. Like I had spent the whole session since they're just looking for like, okay, who's the one that made it through? Is it the general? Is it someone? No, it's Lady Fathom. That was really good. And everybody's scenes were amazing. You talked about them, but Sherry, I just want to say I this whole arc has been notable for the high presence of Lost Song Shanai and almost no appearances from Blue Mountain Scholar. And I like that, you know, we're sort of getting rumblings from people around the group of like Blue Mountain Scholar has been gone for a while, and that absence may be starting to cause questions, but it's also starting to cause like personal problems for Janai because she doesn't have that umbrella to keep attention away from herself. Like
That's
I thought
true.
it was I thought it was really interesting to see you struggling with, you know, taking accolades or you know people giving you attention for what you're doing, and you not being able to pass it off on him or hide behind like doddering old madness or anything like that. That was a really great little moment. Wishes. My foray into alchemy went so well that I cannot wait to see what happens when I try the like Clockwork Mois tinkering aspect of it next time. That will obviously also go perfectly.
Right.
Whatever device I make there. And I guess otherwise for wishes, I think Song Da is very like down in a trench with this Dragon Guard aspect of things, so I want to follow up a lot on that, and there may be some sort of like ill-fated attempt to sneak his way into a spy network without any experience or knowledge.
Ooh, interesting. I dig it. Awesome. So let me say this. More than many games I've run, this for me is like watching a TV show as I'm running. Like I am watching it and oh, and then this is cool revelation. And this and you guys pull stuff out. It is a pleasure to see these interesting things happen, and you pull on threads and then new cool stuff happens and we get to see it. So like this session really like for me hit those beats and was really fun to run. So I just want to emphasize that. I am going to stop the recording.